Hello, welcome back to another episode of After Effects Tech Desk. Today, we're going to do a little video comparing some of the features in Illustrator to After Effects in order to help some of those new users who are familiar with one software get used to working in After Effects. So, the first thing we'll talk about, I guess that makes sense, is artboards here. So, artboards in that Illustrator, kind of the general way of organizing things. There's all sorts of presets and everything. The equivalent in After Effects is compositions, and that's sort of the main palette. And you'll see the same kind of settings here with sizes and presets. So just like a artboard in Illustrator has layers to put objects on, so does a composition in After Effects. If we were to create that in Illustrator, you can see we have a font and size. And of course, you can get the same thing inside After Effects by going to Layer, New, Text. There's also some other layer types, like a solid, which is basically a raster solid that has different uses. There's elements for 3D space, like light and camera. A null object is something that is a powerful controller, and a shape layer is an adjustable vector-like shape. But all the same settings for text are available in here. And if we wanted to double click that, we could type in our same message. The difference between layers in Illustrator and in After Effects is that layers do work a little bit more like Photoshop and After Effects, where you can have multiple objects in one layer in Illustrator. If you do that in After Effects, you get a whole new layer. There's no way to have two objects. If you were to use the shape layer, which is that vector shape, there are ways to get multiple shapes in there, but for all intents and purposes, each object is its own layer in here. If you were to try and import this file into After Effects, although it can read individual layers, it cannot read individual sublayers. So you would need to separate this out into its own individual layers. A quick way to do that is because if you try to drag those both out, you can't do it. But if you click that, but if you click the top of the hierarchy and then the three-line menu, but there is a quick way to do it. If you select the layer and then the three-line menu and go Release to Layers, Sequence, it turns them into their own layers inside of this layer. Now, After Effects still won't read that, but you can now grab them. After Effects still won't see them, but you can now grab them and pull them out into their own layers. And After Effects can now see them. So that's part of the preparation work that needs to be done inside of Illustrator if you're going to import files directly into After Effects. If you were looking to group these together in After Effects, you can do that. And that's done by either doing something called pre-composing, which just basically means creating another composition that these go in and then nesting that composition inside this one. So you can do that by selecting the items, right-clicking, hitting pre-compose. It gives you some options, and then that creates a new composition, which you can name, you can see. And then inside here are the two layers. And then inside here is just the one. This can be really great if you're having to deal with a lot of layers and you're trying to simplify things. So a lot of working in After Effects is nesting these compositions and determining where to group them. You can't really go wrong. It's just worth playing around and doing that as needed. The last thing I want to talk about is shapes and how these translate over to After Effects from Illustrator. So I'll just clear this out. We'll delete that so we have a clean project again. And normally in Illustrator, you might use these kinds of shapes. You have all these other ones, the ellipse tool. You have the polygon tool. If you just click it, you can select the sides. And we have the star tool, which is the same thing basically, except goes inward. You can create vector files inside of After Effects. You can find this rectangle tool and draw directly in. And you'll see here up top, you have this fill, or you can twirl down the layer in the timeline to see a lot of these same attributes. So you can see the colors here. You can change just like you would. So if you were to try and make that color, and of course, if you want to copy and paste hex values, that works. You also have the same tools for the most part, except that we have one extra one called rounded rectangle. And this one gives you a rounded shape. Actually, what it really does is it's available inside the other rectangle also. It's just a roundness setting. So you can create any of these shape layers. And this would be kind of like going here and grabbing those and doing that sort of thing. And just like this, if you grab it and pull all the way in, if you round this all the way off, you essentially get an ellipse. You also have the polygon tool. So, and same thing here, if you twirl this down, you can see some of those same settings that you would get here and adjust them after it's already been drawn. So if you want more points on that or less, you also have the outer radius and a couple other settings which can kind of be fun to play with. And of course, just like in Illustrator, the star tool is also here, which is basically that same thing. And you have that same ability to change settings inside. And here, it gives you a couple additional things where you have the inner radius and the outer radius. So the outer, of course, is how far it's reaching. The inner is how much it's going in, which could be reversed or going all the way in. And then you also have these roundness settings, which kind of smooth them out. And that's how shape layers in After Effects compare to shapes in Illustrator. I hope you found this comparison useful. If you did, please like this video and be sure to subscribe for more videos aimed at helping you make the transition from Illustrator to After Effects.